Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the tutorial video series of the PY-UVM tutorial. In the previous video, we have gotten a little bit of overview what we will be doing in this whole tutorial videos. But before starting out with our theory and concept which we are going to learn in this tutorial, let's first install the basic dependencies which we are required to perform this whole tutorial series in future. So without any delay, I will be going to a little bit of quick walkthrough of what prerequisites which are required and how we are going to install them one by one. So the packages required, number one is the Linux, or you have a Linux version or Ubuntu working on it as an operating system. Definitely you can have this as your operating system of your whole system, or you can also download a virtual machine and create a virtual machine and download the Ubuntu operating system on that. For that, definitely you can visit to the official website which are available, which gives an insight of how you can create a virtual machine and how you can install Ubuntu on that. So in this video, we are not going to cover that concept. So definitely you can find about the information about it from the internet sources. The second one of the package is the CocoDB package. Basically, the CocoDB is a package that basically is a Python library which is required to connect our hardware design with our Python test benches. So this is one of the important packages which will be required to install in our PC. And then we have a PY-UVM package, which is basically a UVM library, which has been developed on the Python language. So definitely that is also one of the crucial, you can say one of the important library which you have to be installed in our PC before we start with this tutorial series. Then for the simulation purposes, we have to require the validator. Basically, Validator is a software simulator which simulates our hardware design and checks the functionality of it or whatever program we are trying to run on it. So till now, the CocoDB only support the Validator version of 4.106. So we are going to install that. Definitely, there are most upper versions of the Validator, but I will not prefer you to install those, as maybe the CocoDB support will not going to the functionality of the CocoDB will not going to work on that properly. So we are going to install the version 1.41, 4.106. And then the one of the main requests is that you should have a Python 3.8 or higher version. Definitely, this is pre-installed on your operating system, so you can check it this version. If it is less than 3.8 or 3.8, so you have to upgrade it to the highest latest version. Or if you have it is greater than 3.8 or 3.10, so it is okay. You can carry on with it. And the last library which you are going to install is the pandas library. Definitely this is going to be used for the data framing. And in future tutorials we will receive there will be many more libraries which are going to be involved. So we are going to install them one by one in our future lectures. So this is the overall packages which we are going to install today. So without any delay, let's move to the installation part. So without first, let's start with our Python version. So all you have to do, you can open your terminal and then let me just, I hope it's very much visible. So let's start with our Python version. So before I go for installation of Python, I have to reach a bit version I have currently installed on my PC. So all you have to do is try to have a Python 3, then you can simply write a version. So definitely this shows the version installed in my PC is 3.10, which is greater than 3.8. So I don't need to install it upgrade version. So I can move on with it if you have a lesser version. So you can install the Python from looking at the internet sources. Okay, the second library which we have to install is the pip. So definitely you can install the pip by using Python 3 install pip. Okay, so definitely you may have for that, let's see how we can install the Python pip libraries. Okay, you can see they have already provided you the commands that you have to write a sudo apt update, sudo apt install Python 3 pip, and then definitely that's going to version. So let's first check if I have already installed pip 3 version by using pip 3 version, right? So definitely it shows that I have already have installation of Python pip 3 22.0. So definitely I don't have to install it again. But if you have not installed that pip 3, so you can follow these two commands and install it manually on your PC. If you want to update pip 3, so you can also update pip 3 by using this command, right? So let's start. Then we have to install the PY-UVM library. So for that, I'm going to be using a sudo. If you are sudo right of your PC, so you can use the sudo command if you are a user. So definitely you do not have to use the sudo command. You can directly use pip3 command. So all I have to do sudo pip3 install PY-UVM. If you are sudo, there's going to ask for the passwords, and if you enter, definitely it's going to install the libraries itself. You can see here that it is also installing the CocoaDB by itself, so I don't have to install the CocoaDB manually. If I have to install CocoaDB, then first I have to install the CocoaDB and then I can install that, right? So for the checking of, let's say if we can write to the CocoaDB, so it's say CocoaDB no command, right? If we can say PY-UVM, so it's just a library, so definitely it's not going to import anything, right? Okay. So before we go, then let's again install our CocoaDB to see which version is already. So it says that it already has been installed, and this is the updated version of 1.8, right? So basically, the recent update of the CocoaDB is 1.0, so it is already installed updated version in it. Now we have done with the following requirements that we have done Python 3 already installed. We have already installed PY-UVM, which installed the CocoaDB itself. Now we have to install the pandas. So for pandas, definitely I'm going to use sudo pip3 install pandas. Okay, these are all the libraries I'm using. The sudo is command so that I can install the whole system wide, so that individual user don't have to install it again and again. So this is one of the procedure you can follow. Otherwise, you can follow the user procedure as well, that you can install, particular user can install it into their personal directory if they want that. Okay, let's wait. It will going to take a little bit of time. Okay, you can see that after Panda, we will going to install the NumPy itself also. So definitely it's one of the advantage that while installing one of the libraries, it install the dependent libraries itself. So you don't have to install the dependent library again and again manually. Let's wait a few minutes until it's just installing the libraries, and then we can move towards the. Here, so we are done with our installation of Python, NumPy and Pandas as well. So let's move to the last part, which is the installation of Validator version 1.06. So for that, definitely I have let's see, installation page. I already have this installation page of Validator open at myself, so you can already open it. So definitely tell you to install the prerequisite before we go into details. So just I'm going to copy paste it and see. Definitely most of the dependency may have been installed already, so definitely it's going to just say that already the installation have already required. If not, then you have to press enter and you can install them manually as well. Some of the definitely we are going to throw some errors, so you don't have to worry about them. You can just neglect it and move forward. Okay, so we are done with our first package. Let's see our second package for that. Okay, so it already is the newest version updated, so it doesn't require to install it again. Okay, you can do it all of this in a single step as well, but I'm doing it, so definitely we can have a little bit of insight. As you can see that unable to locate package, so it says ignore if diff error, so we don't have to consult about that. And after that, let's install this. You can also look into the details it provides you, and then you can say that you want to install it or not. But as they are not that much harmful, so that's why I'm saying yes without any going into details. But definitely, if you want to look into the details, you can look it personally, and then you can take action. Either you want to install them or not. So we are done with our install everything, right? So now what we have to do is without any delay, let's move towards our cloning part. So this is the validator git clone version they have already provided. So all you have to do is to clone the repository, because definitely we are going to install it from the repository because it contain many of the versions. You can also use sudo apt install validator, but it will going to install the latest version. So as we don't want the latest version to be installed in our PC, that's why we are using it manually installation from the its GitHub repository. It definitely, this process will depend upon your internet speed. They may take more than a minute. They may take a few seconds as well. So it's all depend on the internet speed you have at your end at time the moment, or the resources you have been using. So it's not like fixed amount of time it is going to take anything. Right. So we have already cloned into the repository. So let's fall into it. Let's see if we have a validator. So definitely you can see here we have a validator directory. So let's go into it. After definitely we are going to perform that. Once we are going, then we have to pull the changes, so definitely get all the updated updates which are currently on done with the validator. So say we are able to pull today, then let's find out the tags which are available. So you can see that these are all the tags which are available for the validator. You can use the oldest version as well, you can use the updated version. So what version we have to use? We have to use a version 4.106, as I already mentioned in my documentation. If you can see here that version 4.106 which we have to be installed, right? So let's say before let's check it out our version which we want to install. So for that I'm using git checkout version 4.106. This will going to check out the updated version. If you say want to check that the what branch I am at the moment, so you can check out that we can say that git branch version 1.406. Right, then the second command which is shows that or create a configuration script. Definitely I have to create a configuration script, but before that let's see if we can want to install it to some of the prefix. I want to install some of my personal directory rather than installing it to the overall. So definitely you can use it, the configure prefix commands. So let's see if they have already mentioned somewhere or not. Auto config configuration script. Okay, let's first generate our configuration script before doing anything, then we will see. Right, so just paste it. Okay, see, it says the auto configuration is not found, so you also have to install that auto configuration. Package as well. Okay, you can see that the configure and create the make file. So for that configuration, I can make a separate part for my that, definitely using the prefix. You can say the prefix tag itself. So I'm going to use that while I'm using the configure. Okay, so we are done with let's write auto config again. What it say configure the macro auto config is obsolete. You should run auto update. Okay, so after running auto update, the auto configuration has been done. I have to use the auto configure command with minus prefix. Okay, this can be the install for the prefix. You have can see we can see the syntax here, which is already provided. Okay, prefix, it can be the home directory. So definitely the directory I'm using, trying to use is the tools in the home directory with the validator version 4.106. Right, so let's see if it is going to compile and all of them. Okay, checking for Bison. Okay, so it is saying the configure cannot find Bison. You in your part, please install it. So let's see if we can install the Bison into it. Okay, let's see how we can install the Bison. Okay, one of the you can say the best version of the Linux is that you can install it very much easily without any issues. So let's say we can get commands from here. So I'm just going to follow the whole tutorial. So let's see if install the Bison and successfully or not. Then we can again run the configuration command, right? So it says that it's save here. Let's see the star command. I'm not on the Bison app install here. Okay, let's just take it. Okay, let's move one step back and install Bison here. Actually, I don't want things to be installed internal Validator directly, so that's why I've come back to my home directory and installing the Bison there. Right, so it's just a safety portion. Okay, it's already you can see here that we already have a Bison 2.3 folder directly. So let's say we have to CD of the Bison. Let's move towards the Bison. Okay, we came into the Bison. Now we have to use the configure the download Bison GNU parser. So do you we want that if we don't want to install Bison, right? So just use it. Hope that this works. So I'm trying to run this command and doing something. Okay, so the command has been run successfully. Now let's just run make and then we can run sudo make install, right? Let's first run sudo make. I'm going to run sudo make. So I'm going to compile and then we will run the sudo make install, right? As you can see, definitely it will going to take a little bit of time here. We have to run sudo make install. Spelling error. Okay, it's going to install the sudo make, right? I have seen when the installation of Bison have been done successfully. Let's move towards a very later part again and write our configure command, which we have already used. I hope this now going to okay. Bison cannot find. So do we have to install the Bison in our directory or let's say we have already mentioned export path here. I'm not wrong. Like I have used this. Okay, so we have used the Bison directory, so definitely I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to include in my path, right? So now write the configure and see. Okay, Bison is not. Please install it. Why it's giving me an error. Okay, so you can write Bison install web, but there is I think there are some issues in there. So I've already used the direct command, which is a sudo app install Bison, and let's see if my configuration is working there. So with tools, okay, I think it's passed out from the Bison. It's not giving any error, right? So you can do that installation as well. We don't have to install the Bison separately. So okay, so now we are done with our configuration. So what the second I'm going to close it out. As we are done with our configuration part, then the next step was is to they mention here that we have to run a make minus j. Okay, basically this is a very later version, so I'm going to use it as well. But before make, I'm just writing it sudo make. Okay, so this will going to take a little bit of time because of the dependencies going to install all of that. So let's see how much is time is taken to install. Okay, so after taking a lots of time, I guess you can say 5 to 10 minutes, the installation has been configuration has been completed. And here you can see the we are successful for the build has been complete. Now we have to make write the make test to test the environment. But before you can see that it also installed like sudo make install. So let's just first write that. If you don't have any errors in that, so definitely it's going to install. And here you can see that it's successfully installed. Let's see if I make any directory here. I guess the tools directory should be somewhere. So let's make test. So we're going to test and see if it is successful, then we will going to get a successful test, right? Okay, you can see that the very later root is successful or very okay. Does then fail pass 0, fail 1, or this something test must be been failed, so it's not to use that. Let's write the very later and let's see if we can have any response from it. Okay. Maybe because we haven't installed it into our part right now till now. So before let's check it out. So you can see that we have the CD tools somewhere installation. So part is the I guess it's the bin that one bin that root directory, right? So maybe it should be here, but I don't know if I have the access to that. Okay, here is you can see the tools directory. So what I only have to do is to export the part which is tools and validator with the program of 6 bin, and you can select the dollar part. And after that, if I run the validator, it will go to use the validator command, right? If we see validator version, so we can use this command. So validator version 4.106. So if you don't want to do it again part and parcel, what you can do, you can just simply go to your bash rc file, and at the end of that command, all you have to do is enter the part directory. So let's say we will say export part here, tools, okay, instead tools very later, version 4.106, bin, and all the part, right? So this will directly going to invoke my validator part into my part whenever I'm going to open any new terminal. I'm going to reboot my system. Or okay, so you don't have to go and manually write this export command again and again. After writing, you can just simply control S. Okay, let's say if I just close, open a new terminal there. So here, if I've not added my into the bash RC part, validator part into my bash RC, so before if I write the validator command, it will going to provide me an error. But since I've added into my bash RC, so now it can be read overall from whenever I'm trying to run the command. So it is very much easy to do so. So I hope so in this way, I have installed the validator and all the prerequisites. So I hope it will be very much helpful for you to install all your directories required. So once you are done with it, then you can move towards the we can move with our implementation of our further tutorials. So thank you very much and Allah Hafiz.